Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Tea Time with Sahdi and Omni, where we spill the tea and drink the tea. I'm Omni.
And I'm Sahdi.
And today's episode's all about the divine flow, which is one of the 12 universal laws, the law of rhythm. And we will be covering all 12 universal laws in an upcoming Lionsgate episode. So make sure that you subscribe.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about that one.
I'm telling you, yeah, I'm super excited. Okay, so what is the law of divine flow, you ask? Aligning your life, trust, and effortless action within the natural rhythm of the universe. It suggests that life is most harmonious and fulfilling when we align ourselves with the universe's natural flow, rather than resisting or forcing outcomes. Release of control. So I always picture somebody in a river trying to swim upstream. And then,
me too.
Or a lazy river. Like, why would you hang on to the side? You're jamming up traffic. You're, just let the flow.
And it's exhausting.
Exactly.
If you're doing things in your life and you're just exhausted all of the time, you need to let go and kind of just float for a while. Let the universal stream take you.
Yeah. Alignment. Focus on inner clarity. Trust. Have faith that the universe is working in your favor. Ease over effort. Allow opportunities to come naturally to you. And I wrote down hangman because the hangman in tarot always tells me, look at this from different perspectives. Don't be narrow-minded. Be present. Trust in inspired action and not previous perceived outcomes. Listen to intuition, show gratitude, and let go. No perfectionism. So basically, go with the flow of everything and stop resisting.
So when you stop resisting life and you start to allow them to unfold as they're meant to be, you're trusting divine timing. And so that's part of this.
Yeah. One time you were talking about in one of our episodes how you were really upset because it kept hitting red lights and whatnot and almost got into a car accident.
Yeah, that was actually, it was the car in front of me. That's what it was.
Oh, that's right.
I wasn't doing anything that day. I was being lazy. I was wearing my PJs at like 4:00 in the afternoon. And I went to go get Indian food because I was hungry and I didn't feel like cooking anything for myself, right? Yeah. So it was just like a super lazy day off. And I had my Indian food and I didn't want it to get cold. And I was like 5 minutes away from home. And the cars beside me started to go because the light turned green. And the van in front of me didn't go. And so I wasn't really irritated, but I was like, okay, why aren't you going? And then I gave that little friendly beep beep, like, bitch, go.
Yeah.
My food's going to get cold,
like,
right?
Means go.
The car kind of like jumps and hesitates in front of me, and then it goes through the intersection. I was almost exactly a car length behind the minivan in front of me. And out of nowhere from the opposite direction, a Tesla came flying out and went maybe 45, 50 miles an hour, went right in between the back end of the minivan and the front end of my car, and almost would have killed both of us, probably, if it would have hit us from the side like that. And there ended up being like a 5-car pileup from this one car that flew through the intersection and missed me and the person in front of me that hesitated at the light.
Beep, beep.
They saved my life because they were hesitating and they didn't go. Because if they would have went with the flow of traffic, I was right behind that car. I probably would have gotten killed, honestly.
I remember you
just kind of go with the flow, like you can give a little friendly beat. But if there's something that's blocking your energy, a lot of people, what they want to do is they want to like beep their horn in situations like that. But you can carry it with any aspect of your life that you're talking about.
Yeah.
You hit a wall or you hit a block. And a lot of times it's the universe trying to protect you and it's trying to refocus your attention to go a different direction or just wait a minute. Be patient. And instead you're just like, beep, laying on the horn.
Move, bitch, get out the way.
Right. And then you're just in such a hurry to go through it. And then you end up in terrible circumstances or in situations that you have no business being in because you didn't follow the divine flow and what direction you were being led to.
Yeah.
You just bullied your way into what you wanted. Have you ever done that before? I know I have. Gotten into a situation where I'm like, I'm going to get this job or I'm going to get this, whatever it is that I want. Yeah. And then I get there and I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't really want this. This sucks.
Oh, yeah.
We always learn these lessons in hindsight. Or we'll say, man, intuition is the biggest thing when it comes to the divine flow of energy. Intuition is number one. I don't know how many times in my life, and to everyone listening right now, I know you've had these moments where you're just like, man, I knew I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Everything inside of me was telling me not to do it, but I did it anyway because I thought
I knew more.
or I thought it would be better.
I thought he was the one.
Yeah. Oh my
No,
God.
you didn't. You just didn't want to be alone.
Right. Or he had a BDE. Or her, whatever. Yeah. That's the number one thing is intuition. And like you were saying, comparing it to the river, when you're in a river and you're going with the flow, you move effortlessly. And then when you resist or you start swimming upstream, it starts to get exhausting and it feels forced. That's another thing. When something feels like you're forcing it to happen for whatever reason, it's usually going to backfire or you're going to learn the hard way.
I always have to learn the hard way. It's annoying.
It sucks.
I'm way better about it now than I used to be. So I'm going to give myself a little grace. But I am somebody that had to learn the hard way with a lot of things.
Right.
Or learn it a couple times.
Right. And then there's control versus the flow, right? So a lot of us resist the flow because we're afraid of the illusion of control.
Yeah.
Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting the process.
Yeah.
So even if you've been working on a project for 9 months, sometimes you can be really intensely focused on something that you really think is going to happen, or you have it played out in your mind what you think the end result's going to look like. And then it doesn't end up working out that way. And then all of a sudden, their flow of energy was taking you there. Your instincts were telling you, right? And then you get to the very end and it's like doors are shutting in front of you. And that can be really frustrating. At that point, it's really hard to trust the divine flow of the universe. You're like, no, everything has led me to this point in my life. There's no fucking way that I'm not going to reach that goal. That's when you really need to take a step back and be like, is this my ego?
Yeah.
Coming in and forcing this to happen. Because a lot of times you're just being redirected. Everything you've learned and all that knowledge and everything you've gained through what you're going through, if you've been following the flow of divine energy and allowing spirit to guide you, they're not just going to let it in there.
Yeah.
It's going to end up coming back and you're going to need that knowledge for the next step. But it might not be exactly what you thought was going to happen.
I could say that 100% with the business I had to walk away from. A lot of people would look at that like, wow, what a gut punch, what a huge loss.
No, but look how much you've learned.
For one, that led me where I live now, and I love it here. And for two, I know what I'm capable of. I am unstoppable when I put my mind to something. I think that is such a beautiful thing to take away from that, because I genuinely don't look at that as a loss. I look at that as a learning experience. And I think that helps me move forward without regret.
Right. And then also being in the present, because that can block the flow of divine energy. When you do take a loss or something happens, a door closes in your face or something blocks you from what you think you want, it's easy to just reflect on that. Be like, oh man, I almost had this, or this almost happened for me. And then to get angry about it or whatever.
And stay negative.
And just be in the present moment. Be like, okay, well, all this, it's not worth nothing. I trust the universe. I trust the process. For us to focus on the negative and what we lost, instead of like looking back on it and being like, but you gained a lot too. You gained knowledge. There was lessons in there. There was wisdom that you're supposed to take out of it to lead you to the next step.
And now you're in the energy of manifesting.
Yes.
That's exactly. Gratitude leads to manifestation.
And then the signs that you're resisting is usually you're repeating the same mistakes or pattern.
Oh, yeah.
So you're doing it over and over and over again. And that means you're resisting. That's exhausting.
Yeah.
You're supposed to learn your lesson, take what it was from it, and then have gratitude and be like, okay, cool. Now I can move on to the next step. Or if you're constantly feeling like you're stuck, because when you're in the divine flow, if you do imagine it like a river, there are sometimes places in the river where you can get stuck and the flow of energy just keeps spiraling around and you can't get out. And you're like, fuck, I keep going around in circles.
Or you hit a rock. Would I say that to you today? I was like, I just feel like I hit a rock on my divine river flow. That hurts.
Shit. But you got to take the lesson out of it, right? So resistance can be a teacher as well. What are you clinging to that needs to be released? Like the rock, you can just let go of it. Why am I holding on to this? Because I'm afraid to continue on my path. I'm just going to stay here and be scared.
Yeah.
And hold on to this rock until you're so exhausted that you have to let go.
Yeah, because you will have to eventually let go. It's just how it is.
Exactly.
If you listen to our last tea time, we talk about letting go. So that's a good tie-in to this one.
Yeah. I love how that flowed.
Yeah. not into
Well, because
it.
you have to let go of a lot of stuff before you can really get into the
Divine flow of things. Yeah.
So yeah, listening to your intuition, your gut feelings. And intuition is the language of the divine. So pay attention to gut feelings, synchronicities, and signs like repeating numbers and symbols, and just basically your gut instincts. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
Yeah.
If it feels good, go in that direction.
Yeah. If it feels good, maybe do it again.
Do it. Yeah, and just like asking yourself, does this feel light or does it feel heavy?
Yeah, that's
You
a
know?
great teacher to self-reflect on all the time.
Right. And then synchronicities, just opening yourself up. I remember one time I was looking for a job and I was struggling to find the right place that I wanted to go. And I woke up that morning and I was doing my yoga. And then I just said to the universe, I'm going to be open all day to any possibilities. And just take me where you want me to go. Where should I be? And I just went about my day and I ended up bumping into somebody that I knew from years ago at a gas station. And we started talking and I ended up getting the job that I kept for years.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's just about opening yourself up, just trusting. Say, I'm open to any possibility, not just what you think you want. The best possible opportunity that's out there for me, I'm open to that.
Because if you force your way down the river, you're going to end up in shallow water.
Yeah, it might look different than what you think.
Exactly. We can't see the blueprint of what we laid out for our life, but the divine can.
When you really release that and you start going with the divine flow, there can be chaos all around you. People can be going through heartbreak and fires over here, and everything can be like chaotic and crumbling around you, and you just got your hands behind your back and you're just like, I trust.
I'm chilling.
I'm fine right now. I know that everything that is happening right now is leading me into the direction that I need to be in.
But I do that at work sometimes where everyone's upset and I'm just like, you know what? It all evens out.
You just take a deep breath and you're just telling them, people are like, how are you so fucking calm? You're like, oh, I just trust the divine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they look at you like you're crazy. And then you're
the ones acting crazy, being stressed out.
like, well, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then that's how you manifest. That's how manifestations happen quicker because you're aligned with the universal energy. Not even just the divine flow. Sometimes you can be so in that mindset and that state of divine peace and tranquility that time feels fluid.
Right.
If you're doing something that you love to do, sometimes 3 hours goes by and it feels like it's only been a half an hour.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Right.
Yeah. Relax.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're just tapped into that universal energy and you're tapped into yourself and your intuition and all that stuff.
Flow state.
Flow state. Exactly.
Yes.
And then a lot of times we get impatient though, right? So humans crave instant results. We want it right now.
Yep. Guilty.
Me too. We have to trust in divine timing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're not going to get it right now. But the current is leading us. If we had it right now, we might not appreciate it.
Exactly.
Or we might not be ready for it as we think we are because we all have ego, right? And we're like, oh yeah, I'm ready for this new experience. And then we get into that new experience. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not ready. You rushed it and it's not perfect.
Yeah. You're not learning the lessons you're supposed to learn before the time comes.
Right. So sometimes if you just have some patience and wait a little bit in that week or two that you had to wait, that usually you would be like super impatient and just be like, what the fuck? Like, why was this procrastination? And where is this thing that I'm supposed to be getting? And then there's a delay. And that delay sometimes can be sacred. I call it like the sacred pause, where in that period of time that you're paused from what you're trying to achieve, you can learn so much.
Yeah.
And it can come from sources that you weren't even ready for. You could come across an article that just changed your entire mindset, or you could have a conversation with a person. Then you're like, oh my God, this fits in perfectly with what I'm about to get in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that happened with us.
Yeah.
We were supposed to record last week and then it just wasn't flowing.
Yeah, we were trying to record and what Omni was trying to record, she forgot half of it.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't resonating with me. And then I was going to talk about something And it just didn't feel right.
Right.
And then, of course, I don't want to hurt Omni's feelings, right? Because we do that too. We don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. So we'll just go along with something that we're not resonating with.
Yeah.
But she picks up on my energy, thankfully.
Yeah.
And she was like, do you just want to do this next week? Like, we don't have to do it today.
Yeah.
And because we took that pause, we were able to sit down and communicate, and we came up with the divine flow.
Yeah. And it was partly what we were going to record last week, but we added so much more to it, much more meaningful.
Yeah, because I was kind of starting to feel like I really want tea time to be behind the scenes. And so you guys can hear what's going on in our life and stuff like that. We also want you to take something out of it.
Exactly.
And because we do it every week now, I don't want it to just be like fluff and filler.
Exactly.
I want every single episode to have some kind of impact, even if it just reaches one person or two people, and there's an impact there, and you leave feeling like you have more knowledge or more wisdom in a certain subject.
Yeah.
That's what's important. What we were talking about.
It wasn't ready.
Yeah, it wasn't ready yet. Yeah. And so what we did was we took that sacred pause and we accepted, okay, we're not resonating with this anymore. What can we do? And we sat down and we brainstormed together, and we took like an hour or two, and that's all we did was go back and forth with ideas. The flow of the energy was beautiful.
Yeah.
And we came up with some things that we're going to do this season that we didn't even think about before.
And usually it's one of us having an idea on our own and then hitting the other one up, and then like us tying together. But it really felt like we came together as a whole.
And we were supposed to,
Yeah.
because we trusted our intuition and we accepted and embraced the divine flow of energy that was coming between us. And it was like, you guys aren't supposed to record tonight. You're supposed to connect with each other and brainstorm and come up with what the next step's going to be. And it's even better now.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid if you're not feeling something. We're talking about the divine flow of energy, even if it's not going out that night or taking a different route. For instance, on 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess they have a certain amount of people that are estimated to call out per day.
Yeah.
Well, the day of 9/11, there was an obscene amount of people calling out that day. There was one lady who was talking about her kid woke up late and then he missed the bus. So she had to take him to school, and she ended up getting there minutes after. So she just missed it. And there are stories. I was looking through them. I'm like, oh my God, I was getting chills because there was so many things. There was even this one guy who was a workaholic, and he had to be there. He was running a meeting, and he absolutely had to be there. His career depended on it for him to be there that day. And nothing would have stopped him. A sickness wouldn't have stopped him, like a broken bone. He could have had a head concussion. This man was going to make it to this meeting. He ended up getting vertigo when he woke up that morning, so bad that he couldn't even see. Everything was spinning. There was absolutely no way that he could have made it to work. And there were just so many other people like, my alarm clock didn't go off, or this didn't happen, or that didn't happen. You took a different route to work, and you avoid a major car accident. When you're really tapped into that intuition and you're like, this isn't resonating with me, I feel like I'm being pulled in a different direction. Or you've heard people say of even going out, like, I really wanted to go to this party, but something inside of me right before I left told me not to go.
Yeah.
And then there was like a shooting or a fight. Something happened at the party, and you're just like, thank fuck I didn't go.
Right.
Like, thank you.
I was just watching a video the other day of this girl on the Ring camera goes to go outside. She takes 2 steps outside and she stops and she goes, I'm not going out there. And then she goes back in, and the tagline to the video was, how did she know? And then all of a sudden this big ass moose comes walking out from like she couldn't have seen it from where she was, but her
just gut feeling.
I'm not coming out here. It comes walking by. This thing's like the size of the truck out front. And everyone like in the comments, because that's where I go to, they're like, didn't see that coming. Plot twist.
You actually have a story of my friend who recently had a house fire a few weeks ago. She was babysitting her granddaughter, and her other daughter and son were over. And the baby usually took a nap at a certain time. They were trying to get the baby ready to go to bed. The parents were out having dinner, her son and her daughter-in-law. There was a room in the house that ended up burning completely down before the fire alarms went off, before anything. They just had an instinct, right? And they were like, well, the baby's not really ready to go to sleep yet. She was teething. She was a little bit fussy. I guess the parents had her on a strict schedule. She needs to go to bed at a certain time. They were like, let's go against that feeling and let's give her a bath and see if that'll kind of calm her down or whatever. Right after the baby got out of the bath, is when they noticed the fire. And that room was already completely destroyed.
Oh my God.
So if they would have put the baby to bed when it was time to, she wouldn't have made it.
I couldn't imagine.
So sometimes it's a big, major event, and sometimes it's just something minor.
Yeah.
But it's all connected. And so when we learn how to tap into that and not be sorry. So when you just get a gut instinct, sometimes you get to know why you had that gut instinct, and sometimes you'll never know. But I feel like just trust it anyway.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I
there's
mean?
cops that say I just had that gut feeling because honestly, they've learned to train themselves and to tap into that energy without actually knowing what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, and we all have that.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of times we'll push it away, and then we end up looking back on it and be like, I knew it.
Yeah.
I just had a feeling that I shouldn't have done that, or I had a feeling I should have gone here and they didn't. And you miss opportunities too. It's not just about bad stuff. It's about the good things in life that are coming your way too.
Yeah.
Also, it's about faith, because we talk about trusting the universe. So when we're saying trusting the universe, we don't mean just like sit back and let the universe do everything for you.
Right.
It's about co-creating with the universal energy.
Yeah. Because we are creators.
Yeah. When you set an intention, the universe moves to meet you halfway, or it'll help give you a shortcut to where you want to be. We are co-creators in this experience, because everything operates on frequency. So when you align with the higher frequencies like love and gratitude, you naturally move into the divine flow, because that's where it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not about changing everything. It's about changing one little thing and moving into alignment. I kind of look at it like you're in the shade and you're freezing, and you're sitting there for a really long time just freezing to death.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that all you have to do is move a few feet over to the left, and you're in the sun and you're in the warmth. When you're going against your instincts and you're suffering for no reason, when all you have to do is just step into a different alignment.
Yeah. I love that.
Radio frequencies, because I talk about that a lot when I'm channeling energy. It's almost like channeling into a frequency, and you can't hear a station unless you're tuned into that. So a lot of times we're just going about our day and we haven't tried to tune in.
Yeah, that is true. I'm guilty of that a lot of the time.
You're just go out to do this, right? And you're so busy.
Yeah, it's hard for me to be quiet or to be still. And that's something I've been learning a lot about myself lately. And what I've been getting a lot when I do readings for myself is the Temperance card, which is all about patience. And so the universe has been teaching me, in order to stay in that flow state, I need to show that I have patience.
Right. Yeah. That part too.
Yep.
That defined pause, that sacred, just taking a breath and focusing and just asking yourself, am I in the divine flow?
Yeah. And it is easy, especially when you have kids and a job and several jobs or whatever, when you're go, to forget to pause. I talk about the gratitude journal. It really helps me stop and reflect and to remember to be grateful and live in gratitude. To sit there and be like, yeah, that happened, but I'm grateful I have a job. Oh, I watched this video today where this guy said, just because I'm positive all the time does not mean I'm happy all the time. He said, it just means that when I'm not happy, I can see the positive side of it until I get happy again. And I love that. I definitely think I'm a positive person, but I have plenty of times where I'm sad.
That's part of the divine flow as well.
Exactly.
The currency and the vibration of that isn't just being positive.
Yes.
The divine flow can put you in a place where you're in deep despair, where you are depressed, where you're having a dark night of the soul, when you're having a tower moment, when you're going through one of the hardest points of your life, and you are divinely guided to do that.
Yeah.
There is a purpose behind that, to teach you a lesson for your future self.
To break down old habits and realign yourself and become that butterfly.
And we're going through this cosmically. So if you can imagine the collective shift. So not only is this singular for me or for you or for anyone listening, it's a collective shift.
Yeah.
A lot of people are feeling called to step into their higher purpose. And it's like the chaos of the world is pushing us to trust ourselves more and let go of ego and control. It's bigger than just me and bigger than just you. When we're all stepping into that divine flow and the highest versions of ourselves and trusting our instincts and going with the flow.
Niagara Falls, baby.
All
Niagara
of this
Falls.
chaos that the world is in will start to align with peace and love and joy and happiness and contentment and empowerment, because living in the divine flow brings us clarity and peace and purpose. It's like the antidote to burnout and stress.
Yes.
Because once we let go, it's like we're not fighting anymore. We're not exhausted anymore. We're going in the direction that we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting it.
We can relax.
But we're a bunch of little babies. Like, in the cosmic scheme of things, I've always said that we're kind of like fetuses or, newborns in the evolution of things. If we really take a hard look at ourselves as humans.
We're toddlers.
We are. We throw fits.
Yeah.
We're in our terrible twos. Yeah. You know what I mean? So doing this, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It is sometimes excruciating for us to dislodge ourselves from our place of fear and ego and all that other stuff to really be like, okay, what's my divine purpose?
Yeah.
And how do I open myself up to receiving the intuition, the messages and all that other stuff?
It's by taking action and just actively being aware and mindful and doing it.
Exactly. For me, at the end of the day, it can be just as simple as saying an affirmation like, I am aligned with the divine flow of the universe and everything is unfolding for my highest good. And just take that into account, no matter what happens throughout your day, throughout your week, or whatever's going on with you. Really be able to take a step back and saying, okay, well, why is this happening in my life? Where is it the divine flow and where is it my ego?
I think reflecting on ego consistently is a huge part of going with the divine flow. Consistently being like, well, you know what? That says more about them than it does me, and releasing that anger.
Yeah. And just in our last episode, we did a whole episode about releasing. And I feel like that's really important because when you release, you're opening yourself up for gifts from the universe. So it's like, if you have a full plate, you're not really going to get more until you've either scraped your plate or you've eaten what you needed to from the plate. If it's full, you can't add more on there or it's just going to be a mess.
Exactly.
So releasing and receiving energy go hand in hand with each other.
Yeah, releasing that anger, and then you have peace.
And that's kind of how you know the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
When it feels like, oh, this isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Because a lot of times we think it's going to be a lot harder than it actually is.
That is true.
And then, you have all these misconceptions in your mind about, oh my God, if this happens and all this shit could happen. And then you do it and you release it and then you're like, oh, nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
And wow, there's some really good things coming my way. All that fear that you had is usually bullshit.
Yeah.
It's mostly in your mind.
Because fear kills more dreams than failure ever will.
I love that.
All right, guys. And I think that's all the tea we have to spill today. So always remember to keep your minds open.
Namaste, bitches.